everybody. We're back with a new episode of Three Men and an Anime. This week,
Hooray!
this week we're covering One Punch Man.
Hooray!
Huzzah.
This was Eric's suggestion for our get together and watch anime thing. And at the end of the episode, we'll reveal what the next anime we're doing is. But to start things off with, we're going to talk about One Punch Man today. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. But starting things off, as usual, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the show. It's a new anime. It came out last season. 13 episodes put out by Madhouse, who do a lot of short series that are generally gorgeously animated and kind of bizarre and kind of off the wall insane.
Yeah.
They make everyone want more and then give us nothing.
Vile bastards.
Yeah.
Villains, every one of them.
Well, I guess leave you wanting more. At any rate, this One Punch Man was originally, amazingly, not a manga, but originally a webcomic. Created by an author using the pseudonym One, which began publication in early 2009. It went viral very quickly, apparently, surpassing 7.9 million hits in June of 2012. It was then adapted into a digital manga illustrated by Yusuke Murata. It began publication on Young Jump webcomics website in 2012, and Viz Media licensed the remake for English serialization in Weekly Shonen Jump digital magazine. And Madhouse then did an anime this past year, starting in October and ending in December. And that's basically the history of the show. It's not very long and kind of a very different sort of path to making it to the anime than a lot of other...
Yeah.
I mean...
the art for the original webcomic is not good. But that's kind of at the point.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're out there right now and you're drawing your webcomic, you've got 7 years. Okay, 7 years. And you could be like this. Okay? That's all you've got to do. Keep going for 7 years, you get an anime. Simple as that.
Tell that to...
Because that's what's happened to a lot of other webcomics.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
every single one, the queuing.
Every single one gets it. Yeah.
Yeah, tell that to Randy Milholland and Jeff Japes. Because, everyone's seen the something positive and questionable content anime, right?
Oh, yeah. Totally. That's one of my favorites.
At least if you can mind
Kichu gets into the Gundam and fights the kaiju. And, yeah.
Or God help me, the guy who does Sluggy Freelance.
Yeah.
Which I think is still going.
And then Chuchu Bear fights the cardboard tube samurai from
Penny Arcade.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this does not happen very often. But
Happen ever from what I know.
I'm befuddled. I'm like, it was originally a webcomic.
Yeah.
And what now?
Like, holy crap, wait dude.
So, at any rate, what is One Punch Man about? One Punch Man is putatively about Saitama, a superhero who is... okay, now people say Superman is overpowered?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saitama wins all his fights literally with one punch. Nothing can stand up to him. At all.
Yeah.
And he's getting kind of bored.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the great things about the show, actually, is that these great and epic fights, and this is the time it shows up and ends it.
Yeah.
And it's...
You know that excitement
are not a problem for him. His problem has to do with other things that we'll get into.
You know that if you've watched Dragon Ball, you ever see that or any sort of that kind of anime where the protagonist gets excited about this world-ending threat that's coming? Well, and obviously he gets beat down, then he's got to train and get stronger to overcome it. Well, with Saitama, it's the case of yeah, whatever. I'm sick and tired of this shit happening. There's always something popping up. I always keep the shit out of it. No, he's had that excitement. It's gone. It's past. He's bored of it now.
Well, the thing is, he can't get an actual fight.
Yeah, it's there. That's the whole. His biggest problem is that he wants a real fight, but he can't get one. It's just there's nothing that badass out there, which is funny.
Yes, that's the important thing to note. This show is not a serious show in any way, shape, or form.
No, absolutely not. It is a comedy through and through.
And it very much satirizes a lot of shonen anime and manga tropes.
Well, there's a lot of just straight out references to a lot of your.
Oh God, yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it is making fun of a lot of it, but yeah, it's like I say, people look at it and think, oh, it's going to be a fighting story, and it is.
It is. You've got Genos, the cyborg sidekick. For your traditional, like, I must fight this thing that is slightly stronger than me so I can get my ass kicked and become stronger so I might beat it later.
Think of the premise. A guy that basically will win every single fight in one punch, you'd think that'd get boring fast.
Yeah.
But they do a tremendous job with the backup cast.
Yes.
The supporting cast do all the heavy lifting for the drama. And the actual antagonist of the show are not any of the supervillains or monsters that show up, but bureaucracy and poor public relations.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Something that he can't just punch to death.
Right. So, due to the nature of the series, we really can't talk about. We really can't go into depth in talking about any of the characters without actually spoiling what happens in the show, in my opinion.
The show is difficult to spoil because you're paying attention for 5 minutes, you know what's going to happen.
To a large degree, yes. But I'm just saying that if you're at all worried about spoilers or anything like that, I really recommend watching the show and then coming back and listening to us talk about it. Because,
and honestly, even if you know exactly what's going on, that does not stop the enjoyment of the show at all.
No, because you get to see how it happens.
Right.
Yeah, seeing how it happens, seeing the, oh my god, boner-inducing animation.
Yeah, before we get to the talking about the characters and the plot and everything, I do want to talk about the art and the animation.
Oh my god, it's beautiful.
The animation
This is the anime snob. This is the animation snob, Eric speaking here. Okay?
I know they use CG. No one in their right mind does a show on this schedule without using CG. I couldn't spot it.
There are a couple of spots where you can sort of think, yeah, that's probably CG.
With, like the explosions and such, but it's so beautifully integrated. And oh my god, the show is gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
And
I caught a couple of arguments because I'd never heard of it. Well, I'd kind of heard of it in passing, but I never paid it attention. And since we finished this series, I have been on YouTube just rewatching clips, the theme, the soundtrack, anything I can find, and I've seen a number of arguments pop up about people saying, "Oh, the anime in this sucks," and I'm like, either you're blind, or you don't know the difference between art style and animation.
That's actually something that comes up a lot. Another Madhouse project, Red Line. Gorgeous movie. It's a movie basically about space stock car racers. All hand drawn. That was kind of the whole point. It was a project to see if they could do a feature-length movie all hand drawn. Yeah. It's gorgeous. Yeah. It's one of the most well-animated things I've seen in a very long time. It's got a very distinctive art style, and a lot of people don't like the stylization involved.
Well, even in this, I mean, I think it's kind of an homage, basically, back to its roots of being a very poorly drawn webcomic. That Saitama quite regularly will appear as a really simplistic, almost a balloon.
That's literally one of the things they do to give the animators a rest. Is like, okay, everyone go down to like just draw like you're in grade school, just for like 10 frames. Little sight gag, and you can.
Well, at the same time, they manage a trick that's really good, where they go from almost 2D face, bubblehead Saitama, and literally as he turns to pull his fist back, the head almost transforms the character.
Right. Yeah,
it's a serious man.
it's glorious,
it's
and they do it
glorious.
2 times, and it's just holy shit. When I say animation boners, it's the kind of shit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well,
Just entire last episode, holy crap.
I may have said this last time, I can't remember, but there's one thing in anime that always impresses me when they get it right, and that's the illusion of speed.
Yes.
Yes.
And very few do it correctly. Either they'll have the characters will simply disappear, and they'll just be flashes the Dragon Ball way. They'll have everything else moving really slowly while the main character moves at a normal pace, that kind of thing. But this, and not just with Saitama, but with everything, they've just got the speed. You get the real feeling of that he's going really fucking fast.
Yes. I haven't actually checked, but I'm wondering if it's just they just added more frames.
Well, I'm guessing that's pretty much how they always do it. But yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I agree completely. With Gav's point about the speed thing, they really do make the Saitama, especially when he's going full out, or quote full out, I should say.
When he's stopped goofing off.
Right.
When he's paying
attention.
Yeah. But like they just do this wonderful job of conveying, yeah, this is going insanely fast, and oh my god, what the hell's happening? And I also love watching Saitama especially, but they do it with a couple other characters. But Saitama has this amazing ability to go from just complete goofball in his expressions and looking like not at all serious and such, and then just beautifully transition into these looks of just sheer and utter complete badassery.
Yeah.
The sparring match between him and Genos.
Yes.
Is an excellent example of that, and because he'll drop out of the I am a terrifying avatar of death just as quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want, that's one of the most common clips you'll find online. The sparring match.
Yes.
And that is just a sparring match. That is an impression of what this show is about. That if you want to have a look about and see how beautiful the animation is, watch that. It spoils nothing. And there's no, there's a conclusive finish, but it doesn't spoil the impact that Saitama has.
Right.
While still showing how badass he is.
And man, that show's beautiful. The entire last episode is just holy crap.
Oh, the last episode, yeah.
It's like it's like it's drawn in such a way to invoke every like epic moment from every like late 90s anime you've ever seen, but done using modern techniques and technology, so it's just smooth as silk.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I guess we'll start talking about the characters, and we have to start with Saitama. I mean, that's just where we start.
He's so wonderfully bored and such a goofball. And completely luckless.
Yeah.
So Saitama is, as we said, an immensely he's the most powerful super being on the planet, as near as anyone can tell.
He is physically limitless. And
Like,
dumb as a stump.
Yeah, and I actually wouldn't go so far as to say he's dumb as a stump.
Yeah, that's one of the most common.
He's not much better than average intelligence.
Yeah, a lot of people think he's dumb. He's really not. He's actually fairly clever for as a normal IQ kind of person. There are times when he does trick people into giving him information that he wants and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, he's removed from the world, so to speak. He's so bored and detached.
He's just trying.
Nothing concerns him. Yeah, he doesn't try.
He doesn't have to try. He doesn't have to be smart.
Right.
And it's very clear that I think part of it is he doesn't bother applying himself intellectually on anything because he just doesn't care. He's lazy.
Yes.
And the thing is, he is lazy. He's a lazy man at heart, and the really interesting thing about him is, as near as anyone can tell, he started out as just a normal guy.
Yeah, he was literally just this. The backstory episode, I think it's like episode 2, or maybe even happens in 1. He runs into a monster. He's an unemployed guy going to an interview for a job that he doesn't actually want. And he's
Actually,
like,
I think he just left the interview and didn't get the job.
Something like that, yeah.
So he's a normal-looking Japanese salaryman type walking down the street, and he runs to this lobster monster thing.
Crablante!
The design
Crab.
of which is ridiculous. It's literally just like a big crab with a stupid-looking like cartoon face on it, and the lower half is a muscly guy in briefs.
Yes.
Tidy whities, bare legs, and giant crab body.
And the Crablante basically decides to let Saitama go because Saitama clearly just he can tell by looking at him he just doesn't give a shit about the world and isn't going to try to get involved. And Crablante is specifically after this kid who was bullying him apparently. That's what he said. That's what he's currently after. So Saitama's like, whatever, walks along. And he basically does this kid with his giant chin. And Saitama walks along and he sees this little kid standing there with a comically huge chin.
It looks like someone's ass.
Yes.
Two baseballs glued to his chin, basically.
Standing there bouncing a ball, and Saitama looks at him and realizes, oh crap, this has got to be the kid. So
why am I going to save this kid? He's not even cute.
Yeah.
But he tells the kid, so did you happen to annoy this giant crab monster? Yeah, I drew a couple of nipples on his torso with a permanent marker.
You just sleep in the park.
And Saitama's like, the fuck?
What's wrong with you, kid? Why would you do that?
All right, look, he's coming to try to kill you. Just run away. And the kid loses his ball. Crablante shows up, destroys the ball.
The villain's name is Crablante.
Yes.
Which is just ridiculous in and of itself.
It's wonderful. And Saitama just decides, no, I can't let him kill this kid. Not in front of me. Not when I'm here. He probably wouldn't have cared about it initially if he hadn't been there, but he's there, and he can't let somebody just kill this kid just because the kid drew nipples onto his
carcass.
That shouldn't be worth killing.
No.
But I can't even wipe him off. Look at me, I've got crab claws. I can't hold him.
I can't hold a towel.
And so, he basically says, I'm not going to let you. And Crablante basically, kicks him around for a while and basically says, okay, fine, I'll kill you too. And Saitama doesn't give up. He just will not give up. He goes full Determinator. And then sort of vaults over him, grabbing his eye stalks, and kills Crablante in a...
Pulling his meaty...
He eviscerates him through the eye.
He basically, he pulls his innards out through his eye hole. It's somewhat gruesome because the show does that. It's Madhouse. Get used to it.
Yeah.
And stands there panting, just realizing, oh my god, this was amazing.
Fun. I'm going to be a hero now.
Right. And so he decides to train and become a superhero because of that rush and that great feeling of both the great feeling of the fight and of saving the kid.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to be a hero because being a hero is fun. And, 3 years later, after his training regimen, he is completely and utterly unstoppable, and fights can't be entertaining to him. But he still wants to be a hero and save people.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the whole thing. He spends the first half of the series. He just refers to himself as a hero for fun. He's not fighting for justice. This, that, and other. He's a hero. But I'm doing it for fun. But he's lost the fun element.
Right.
We should talk about the Hero Association.
We will, but we have to get to... I want to talk about some of the other characters first.
Okay.
We'll get to Hero Association as we go. The second hero that's really introduced second major character that's introduced is Genos, who is a teenaged, angsty cyborg. Who is
every anime character ever.
Yeah.
You look at him, everything you look at him, he's like, oh my god, in any other show, this would be our hero, the protagonist.
Yeah.
And
in this show, he's a punching bag.
Kinda.
To be fair, he is a monstrously powerful in his own right.
Oh, he is, yes.
But he is largely the series Worf.
Yes.
Yeah. He is the badass
to establish how scary the monster is.
Exactly. Yeah. We establish how badass he is, then see him get destroyed on a regular basis, so we know how hard the opponent that Saitama's beat is.
Right. Now,
they did a better job of it with Worf though, because they don't just assume, oh, he's a cyborg, so he must be strong. Up now he's down. You actually see him do a lot of terrifyingly powerful things.
Yeah.
He beat a lot of minor villains without much trouble.
Right. And also, he usually loses when he basically starts underestimating, like losing. Either he loses focus or he underestimates what his opponent can do.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, fuck! I did it again. I underestimated opponent. God damn it!
Yeah.
I'm going to lose here because I'm an idiot. I did something stupid and wrong, and I don't have. I'm not so completely overwhelmingly powerful that I can afford that against like the truly powerful beings."
Right. And he regularly ends up fighting against things just a little bit stronger than him.
Right. So he's a power. He's cybernetic. He's almost his entire. He's basically a brain in a jar.
He's an organ bucket.
Yeah.
And his backs. He basically, after meeting Saitama, so his introduction is fighting this
long, ridiculous backstory.
But yeah,
Saitama shuts down halfway through because it's stupid.
So, at any rate, he shows up in this first episode fighting this mosquito monster.
Oh.
And the episode's hilarious. And he gets his ass kicked, and Saitama squashes the mosquito monster with a backhand, basically.
With
and
pants on.
Well, yes, because his clothing was destroyed.
He actually accidentally burned off all his clothes.
Right.
Almost all of Genos' powers involve fire. Because he's got flamethrowers in his wrist. Because why wouldn't you? You're a cyborg.
Yeah, basically all of Genos' power. Genos basically is all about speed, flamethrower firepower, energy, fire energy blasts, and some electrical strikes.
Yeah.
Typical cyborg stuff.
Yeah. And again, he is ridiculously fast. And Saitama's faster. But anyway, so he basically, after the fight, he's like, "Oh my god, how did he? What? Who is this guy? I've never heard of him. How have I never heard of a superhero this fucking powerful?"
I must learn from him. Clearly, he was my new master.
So he basically decides he's going to follow Saitama and become his disciple. And Saitama at first is basically having none of this because he's like, "Why the fuck? No, go away."
Piss off, kid. I've got to lounge in my living room doing laundry.
But so he explains his backstory to Saitama. It's classic shonen anime hero backstory. He was a kid. His older brother idolized his older brother. A powerful evil cyborg showed up, blew up his hometown, killed his family, including his brother. He was nearly dead. A brilliant scientist showed up and saved his life and turned him into a cyborg so that he could fight for justice and get revenge for his brother. And he's all revenge and anger focused. He's completely revenge focused. He's desperately looking for the cyborg that killed his brother. This is his driving focus. And he explains his backstory to Saitama, and as he's going through it, it's incredibly wordy, and he starts there's less as it goes along. He starts speaking faster and faster with less and less pause between the words, and it starts turning this gigantic long run-on sentence. Saitama's just like, "Stop."
Well, he starts repeating himself at one point. He just
kinda
over and over the same point.
It's like listening to Mojo Jojo.
Yes, and Saitama says, "Stop. Summarize it in 20 words or less." And Gino stops, pauses, thinks for a minute, and does so. And Saitama basically, and eventually Saitama wears Saitama down, and Saitama basically says, "Fine, yes, you can be my disciple, whatever, fine." Because he basically says, I need to get stronger so that I can beat this, because clearly I'm not powerful enough. Will you train me? And Saitama's like, whatever, sure, fine.
Whatever, kid. Supposed to be bothering me.
But the really interesting thing is he talks to Saitama about how much more powerful he is, and Saitama's like, "How old are you, kid? 18, 19? I forget what the age is."
Yeah.
And he basically says, "Look, you're probably going to be more powerful than I am eventually." This is what Saitama, and the way he says it, it's clear Saitama believes this.
Yes.
Because he's watched what Genos can do and says, okay, his upper limit, he's going to get more powerful as he goes along. Now, it may be the case where this is not true, but that's what Saitama believes.
Yeah.
And he's also convinced that this kid could be a better hero than he is, which is entirely possible. And So and while they're sort of talking, so as things go along, they're talking, and they're attacked by, they're next attacked by a bunch of sort of genetically engineered monsters, sort of very sort of Island of Dr. Moreau-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're sort of humans who've been fused with animal stuff.
A little bit of Digimon thrown in.
Right, and so they basically go off to deal with them because the first two come crashing through Saitama's wall and break it in his apartment, and Saitama kills the two of them in one punch because of course he does, and he leaves down and says, "Haven't you people heard of doors?" Crying out loud! Why'd you break the? You're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay to get that fixed.
Let's not give away the whole thing, but yeah.
And so he gets into a fight with the leader of this group. It's comically hilarious as usual. The guys, and Saitama squares off. Gino squares off against a cyborg in the group, who turns out is a cybernetic gorilla.
Because those are always awesome, and I'm totally honest here, completely earnest. You cannot go wrong with cyborg gorillas. They are always awesome.
I can't really argue with you on this point. And it's a wonderful bit. They find out about who's Genos will ask after Genos beats the gorilla because he beats him because Genos gets to win occasionally.
Yeah.
And
he wins a lot. To be perfectly honest.
Right, and and basically the cyborg's like, yeah, no, whatever. You can't possibly, I won't tell you anything because you may have beat me, but you're not nearly powerful enough to beat the guy the more powerful guy who's here with me, who's our second most powerful member of our group. And Saitama walks back with the guy's eyeball. You see, oh, you mean this guy? And the guy goes, yeah. What do you want to know?
What happened to your robot voice? I was just trying to be cool.
That kind of humor, yeah.
And so basically, they ask him what he's about, and he starts giving this long, lengthy, wordy explanation. And Genos interrupts and says, 20 words or less. Because Genos is earnestly trying to model himself after Saitama.
Yeah, he really is trying to learn as much as he can.
One of the things that we need to talk about is Saitama really doesn't give a fuck what people think of him.
Right.
Because eventually, word gets out about him. He starts getting hate mail because everyone thinks he's cheating, basically. He's like, this is awesome. It's all done by people that have lots of free time because I was able to stop that monster disaster, whatever.
Right.
He's honestly happy to be getting hate mail because that means he's doing a good job.
Right. It's like, this person is able to give me hate mail because he's alive because of what I did.
Yeah.
So, but at any rate, so...
And that kind of altruism... nonchalant, very casual altruism starts to rub off on Genos.
Yes. And at about this point, we're sort of introduced to a couple other characters as we go along. We're introduced to Sonic. I can't remember the guy's full name.
Speed of Sound Sonic.
Speed of Sound Sonic, yes, who's a ninja. And an incredibly powerful ninja. And very Bishonen. And he's prides himself that nobody's able to stand up against him, and he's fighting these. He's basically bodyguarding for this asshole who's being targeted by some low-ranked supervillains, led by Hammerhead, who's quite comical.
They were Space Marines.
They totally look like Space Marines.
Hammerhead's a low-power supervillain in Power Armor, and he's got a bunch of followers who are also wearing Power Armor that they nicked, and Sonic basically wipes out all his followers and kicks Hammerhead's ass. But Saitama basically secrets him away because, for various reasons, which we're not going to go into. And basically, Saitama lets him go after wrecking the armor. Saitama basically punches the armor, destroys it, and leaves the guy alive.
The only reason he came out after them, not to spoil it all, but 2 reasons he came after them. A, he wanted to see if this power armor could actually give him a fight. And B...
But most importantly, these guys didn't have any hair. They thought he was going to be a part of them.
Right.
They were
He didn't get associated with bald terrorists.
Because Saitama is bald. And it mentioned early on that he trained so hard all his hair fell out.
That's his tragic backstory.
Yes.
He's bald.
Yeah. And so he's like, oh my god, they're all bald, and like the news is warning people to stay away from young people who are bald who shave their head because they're probably part of this gang. And Saitama, like, people start misidentifying him as part of the gang, and he's like, okay, fine, fuck it, gotta deal with this. And like the guy, it basically gets Hammerhead to agree to stop being a villain and just go away, and Hammerhead does that. And Sonic shows up and is like, okay, look, nobody's ever escaped me before. I have to go kill this guy. Where'd he go? And Saitama's like, I'm not going to tell you that. Actually, no, he actually tells you, hey, went off that way.
Yeah.
Because Saitama doesn't really give a fuck. And doesn't realize that Sonic's going to...
like, well, you're bald, so you must be a member of them. No, I'm not.
I don't believe you. And I don't believe you, I'm going to attack you, because I can't. My contract says I got to kill them all. He comes after him, and Saitama just reads all his attacks and just stops him cold, and he's like, oh my god.
Saitama's not even really fighting, he's just like, hey dude, what's up? Hey, what's going on? Hey, broke your sword.
And so Zero's like, okay, and Zero declares himself Saitama's rival.
Zero, Sonic.
Sorry,
it's stupid and hilarious.
Right, Sonic, yes. Sonic declares himself Saitama's rival. And he's like, I'm going to beat him. I'm definitely going to beat him. And, and he shows up a few times, and it's usually comical. But all of this is going around, and, so later on, Saitama, and after being attacked by the monster, the animal monster things, they're from this place called the House of Evolution. They go off to basically deal with the House of Evolution. They do. In the fight against the most powerful member of the House of Evolution, Saitama reveals his training secrets that made him super powerful. This is like the third episode.
Yeah.
It's the second episode.
You're right. It is, I think it's the second. Moot point.
The House of Evolution thing is second episode.
Yeah.
So he reveals his secrets, which are, for 3 years straight, every day he did 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, ran 10 kilometers a day, and
never turned on the heater air conditioner.
Right. No, it's the third episode, Eric, because the second episode is Mosquito Girl.
Okay.
At any rate, so this is the third episode. And, like, Genos, everyone, like, Genos, the leader of the House of Evolution, and the House of Evolution's most powerful being, all basically call bullshit. Because this is basic, this is basic, strength training type stuff. And
so Thomas is like, but it's true.
Yeah, so tell me, he's adamant. Look, that's it. Genos, I don't know what you want me to teach you. All I have is strength training.
This is all I do! This is all I did. And so, but after this, after they leave the wrecked place, there's a bunch of sort of government agent types who are studying the area and are convinced that they knew who did this. And it turns out they're part of this group called the Hero Association. Which is this sort of official organization who basically pay people to be heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've got a complicated ranking system, because of course they do.
And the ranking, and yeah, it's... So Genos and Saitama go and join up, because Saitama's like, holy crap, you can get paid for this?
Well,
also...
in case there's like... Yeah, Saitama's getting pissed off that no one's ever heard of him.
Because he's been fighting for years, he's been destroying all these insanely powerful monsters and saving the cities, and nobody knows who he is.
Yeah. It's because he comes face to face with, is it Tank Top Tiger?
Yes.
His whole gimmick is he wears a tiger stripe tank top.
So
okay.
They go and they get tested to see what rank they are. Genos is bumped up immediately to the highest class, bottom of the highest class, the S class, because they're like, so what'd you do? We blew up the House of Evolution. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's rank for you.
He aces the written test, aces the physical test, because obviously he's a cyborg, so the physical test's not a problem.
He's an immensely powerful cyborg, and he's very smart.
Yeah, so he gets 100% on both tests. Scores done.
Did you break the House of Evolution? Yeah. S rank.
Yeah.
Saitama aces breaks the records and all the physical stuff.
Like, they can't measure how powerful Saitama is, honestly.
And he flubs the friggin' written exam.
Because he doesn't give a fuck.
C rank.
Yeah, so even though he's literally broken all the records and the machines that they use to test the guys, including the whack-a-mole machine. Oh, they also ape the punching test with Vegeta in there as well.
Right.
But yeah, they do all these tests, and he completely annihilates any and all records, but just absolutely a straight zero on the written test. He don't even half the time he doesn't even realize there was a written test. And he's just, oh well, C. So what? Are you real?
And a lot of the Saitama's problems, actual problems, come from the fact that he's a C rank hero, which means no one believes that he can do anything that he does. He's got quotas of street crime he needs to meet.
Yeah, other C rank heroes include guys that just like it's like Kick-Ass.
Yeah,
These are the guys that just put on a costume and run around the
cats, just
and save cats from trees.
Yeah.
that's as much as they do.
Right. Now they fight muggers and stuff too. But
yeah,
the thing is, so the ranking system has, if you hit the top of a rank, you're allowed to, if you want to, move up to the next class up. And the top of C class is this guy called Moomin Rider.
Moomin Rider is awesome.
Moomin Rider is quite possibly the single most heroic person in the series.
Yeah.
He also has one of the best themes.
Oh, his theme song's fantastic. The thing is,
the music in the show, by the way, is phenomenal.
It's great.
The OST is put it this way, it's very rare for me to hear any OST where I will just let it play. Yeah. Usually there's something on there, I'm like, skip this one. It's like, I like this one. I can let that play.
Yeah.
The music in this is great.
At any rate, so Moomin Rider, he shows up pretty early. I forget where he shows up exactly. Not important, but Moomin Rider is a normal dude who rides a bicycle.
Yeah.
Going around helping people. That's what he does.
He's totally taking off Kamen Rider. It's not even.
Well, yes, of course, but.
Yeah. But the great thing about Moomin Rider is very much the sort of avatar of like fighting spirit. He's the guy who goes out there and like will do whatever he can to help whoever he can, no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's also got no illusions of how powerful he is.
Yeah. He knows that he's just some smuck on a bicycle.
It's revealed later on that he's been top of the C rank for months, if not years, just because of the work he does. He just keeps doing the work.
Yeah.
So he's earned that rank.
Like, no, I wouldn't make it in B class. Screw that.
He's basically saying, look, the B rank guys get more dangerous jobs. If I got put on one of those jobs, I could screw it up and get people hurt. So I'll just stick where I know I can to help the most.
Right. But he also, like, if a dangerous situation shows up and people need help, he dives in anyways.
Yeah.
Because he will do what he can to help.
There's a great bit where there's a big scary villain who's like wiped the floor with several S-class heroes. Moomin Rider shows up and he's like, this is way out of my league. Fuck it, gotta save the people. And charges in anyway.
And so he charges in and basically he's there doing a great job of distracting the villain away from the civilians.
And they do the whole big like, yeah, we all believe in you, the big like fighting spirit and
Ganbare!
You can do anything if you put your heart to it, blah 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 blah. Very big and emotional. They do a great job of hitting all the right notes to make it go, fuck yeah, he can do it.
No.
No.
No, I sat there going, if this was any other, like, people, the civilians are going, you people are in the wrong series. Don't do this now. Run away.
You're gonna get this guy killed.
You're gonna get this guy killed, and you're wasting his distraction. It's very clear he's obviously trying to.
In any other series, he'd do it. He'd pull it off.
Right. But unlike in any other series, he's aware he's going to lose. He's doing it entirely to buy people time.
Yeah. He's doing it because there's no one else to. Everyone else is lying broken and bloodied.
Yeah. Genos is there completely shattered. But his body's been
other heroes are have been just mopped up. It's a mess. Yeah. Bunch of people in the shelter just like, oh, we're fucked. And then Moomin Rider comes in to save the day. And he's great.
Wonderful. It's a great scene. It's wonderful, and he's awesome. And the civilians do the
It's
wrong
a
thing.
chunk of doomed heroism. He
Yeah.
knows he's going to lose, and he does it anyway, and that's why he's awesome.
He's totally trying to pull a last man on the bridge type thing.
Yes, he is the doomed hero, and I love me some doomed heroes, and it's great. He does it anyway, even though he's going to lose. Because it's the right fucking thing to do, and I love that.
Right. And, the villain backhands, eventually, nails him to the point where he's going to plummet to the ground, and he's going to die when he hits. And, of course, Saitama shows up at the last possible second, catches him, makes sure he's, not dead, and then basically says, okay, my turn. And it goes exactly the way you expect it to.
But that's the thing with Saitama. It's like he catches him, and he doesn't just say, "Oh, there you go." He's like, "Nice fight, you did well."
Yeah, because he's like
and he genuinely means it because he is aware of how powerful he is, just not how powerful he is, and that everyone else is struggling. He's less than that.
But it's not that it's not so much he's like you were saying, you did a great job. You were a hero. He admires the crap out of Moomin Rider in that moment.
Absolutely.
This is the thing. As powerful as he is, he's not arrogant with it. He understands. Maybe he doesn't understand how powerful he is, but he understands the scale of where he is compared to everyone else. So, like he's saying with Genos, he's not putting him to one side because he's really weak compared to him. He's like, no, dude, you're powerful. You will be a hero. I believe in you. Can do this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
even
don't
things
need
like
to do this.
Yeah, even things like Moomin Rider is like, well done. You did everything you could.
Right. He genuinely admires people who are being genuinely heroic.
Yeah.
Because he genuinely at his heart is a hero. He wants to be a hero because he wants to help people, and he respects the crap out of that. There's a very, very Superman element to him in that way, honestly. Yeah. He's not as Boy Scouty as Kal-El is, but
no, not at all. There's a lot of times when he's sitting there watching the news, they don't really need me.
Right.
Oh wait, maybe they do.
Right, and and he's not, but he's got that sort of ability to at this sort of he doesn't think too much of himself, and he thinks he knows he's really powerful, and he's entirely able to sort of acknowledge and admire good qualities in other people around him.
Yeah,
and it's really interesting seeing how various key people who interact with him a lot. It's how much he sort of ends up meaning to some of them once they get to know who he really is. There are a bunch of the heroes totally hate his guts.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the powerful heroes are kind of jerks, or sociopaths, or actually possibly evil.
Possible outright psychopaths.
Yeah, a few of them. A few of them are just sort of classic, sort of classic sort of shonen.
They're doing it for the ego, yeah.
No, not that. There are a lot of them who are big into just they love fighting.
Yeah,
and that's why they do it.
The tank top trio at the very least.
Well, yeah, but even among some of the S-class types,
Yeah.
There's the dude who is clearly a combination of somebody from Yu Yu Hakusho and from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in terms of art style, with the baseball bat.
Right, with the guy with the baseball bat.
Yeah.
But he is every sort of he's all about fighting, and that's all he gives a flying fuck about.
Yeah.
And if he can get paid to do it and get good rep for it, sure, great. But he just wants to hit things.
It's a fight. He just wants to hit things with his baseball bat because that's awesome.
Right. And we'll get into some of the major players in the Hero Association in a minute. But I do want to say I adore how much I've heard people sort of saying that Saitama is not a good guy, and I'm like, are you paying attention to the show?
No, they in those cases they're clearly not, because you're right. While he's largely disinterested, he gets up off his ass and does and saves people. That's what he wants to do.
He clearly recognizes. I mean, the thing is that he is somewhat in danger of falling into the trap that Dr. Manhattan in The Watchmen did.
Yeah.
Of being so powerful, he no longer has any connection to humanity.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is not something I can say definitively, but it's pretty clear to me, at least, that he's aware of that and is doing his damnedest not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could agree with that assessment.
When you see shit on the news like another monster attacking the city, it's basically the same sort of mentality where it's like, oh shit, I'm gonna put the trash out.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, I've got to do the.
He'll drag his feet, but that's because, like you said early on, he's a profoundly lazy man.
Yes, that's probably his biggest drawback as a character flaw is he's lazy. He doesn't. It's like, I don't want to have to go. I don't want to have to take the effort of going out there to do this because it's going to be completely and utterly boring. Because I'll show up and I'll punch the guy and he'll die.
And that'll be the end of it.
He'll talk at me in long, verbose, sort of uninteresting way about whatever, and it will annoy me and waste my time. And then I'll punch him, and we'll get the fight will start, and it won't be worth. It won't be interesting at all.
Worth putting my pants on for.
Yeah.
But at least I'll save people. There is that. And if no one shows up, they'll all die, and that would be terrible. That would be. I got to go do that. So, I've heard people say that, and it always annoys me when they do because they really aren't. They're not paying attention to how Saitama, what he's saying and how he acts, and B, even if they're kind of partially right, they're not paying attention. This show is a fucking satire.
Yeah, and this is. Yeah, because like I said, the real antagonist is the bureaucracy of the Heroes Association.
Yes.
And the fact that everyone assumes he's cheating because they buy into the bureaucracy of the Heroes Association.
Right.
It's and he actually takes on the part of the cheater because he doesn't want to lessen the sacrifices other heroes make.
Right.
He's like, yeah, fine, I think I'm a cheater, whatever. Just don't think these other guys didn't try.
Because they did, and he fully acknowledges that, and that's
So I will play the part of the bad guy. As long as you recognize these other guys tried.
Right. All right.
He doesn't. While he likes praise and recognition, he doesn't need it.
Right. That's the thing. Is he actually wants to be recognized as a big hero. He really does. But
he doesn't need it, and he's willing to give that up for other people.
But the thing is he realizes. I think the other thing is he realizes that the people need to be able to trust the Hero Association, and try because they need the heroes to be.
They need the heroes to help them out because they're always giant fucking monsters or crazy mutants or alien invasions or whatever bullshit's happening today, and it is almost a daily thing.
Right. And he doesn't want to lessen the sacrifices of the other heroes, the ones who really do deserve it. And so for that, he's willing to he willingly sacrifices what positive reaction he could get.
There's a great bit where this big meteor comes to the sky and several heroes try and fail, including Genos, who does this epic, super awesome mega power thing, and it's really beautifully animated and gorgeous. Doesn't quite do it. This is the time it shows up and punches the meteor. Because that's what he does. He punches things.
But
right.
It's also implied that he was there at least for a little bit and stood back and let Saitama have his shot.
Let
Genos have his shot. Because it was a turning point. That scene was a turning point for Genos as well. Because without going into it, we've met another character at this point who's basically seen why Genos is holding himself back.
Yeah.
And is trying to push him forward. And Genos gets one of those, you're kind of right. I do kind of hold myself back. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And that's a turning point for him, and Saitama lets him have it. It doesn't work in the end, and he's there to step in, but he lets him have his moment first.
Yeah, and because Saitama had the meteor was close enough for him to jump up and punch it, it devastates a large part of the city. So later on during cleanup, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go out and help clean up." And these other heroes. Tank Top Tiger.
Tank Top Tiger.
And his big brother start trying to turn the crowd against him because they're douchebags and they don't like that he's got so much credit for this. So everyone starts they all start yelling at him and near riot happens. It's you know what? Fuck you guys. I did it because I wanted to, and you'd all be dead without me. Well, what's your problem? You broke my new car. Tell it to the meteor. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't need you guys. I did it because it was the right thing to do. Fuck off. And he goes
Yeah,
goes
It's
home.
like, if that meteor had hit, as it was, then
You'd all be
your new
dead.
car. Yeah, you'd all be dead.
As it stands, the broken up meteor bits fell and devastated the city, but very few people died. I think
Yeah.
nobody died actually, is what they say. And it's like, and
Yeah.
it's because of what Saitama did. And there are enough people who actually get it that it's not painful. Like, I love the fact that there are people who do get it, including the guy who's basically is the one who encouraged. You basically told Genos to basically stop holding yourself back, which is
Silver Fang or Bang or
Yes.
by both actually.
yes. Hang on, let me get his actual name here.
It is bad.
Silver Fang, otherwise known as Bang. His real name, his actual name is Bang. His superhero name is Silver Fang.
Yeah.
He's a classic old master martial artist
Yeah.
of egregious ability.
He's basically he's what's his name? He's Master Roshi played serious.
Yep, kinda. But the big thing is that he's one of
He's
the
the master in every kung fu movie ever.
yes.
Yeah.
He's one of the powerful heroes who actually gets what Saitama's about. He immediately realized, he looks at Saitama and goes, yeah, okay, he's stupidly powerful. And B, wow,
I
he
just
really
watched him punch out a meteor.
But, like,
he shows up. He's like, "Who are you?" Punches meteor. Holy shit!
okay. And like he watches how Saitama reacts to the whole thing with Tank Top Tiger and his brother Black Hole Tiger. And
Ridiculous names these guys have.
Oh.
It's tank top black hole.
Tank Top Black Hole, that's your
Tank top Tiber, tank top black hole, and there's tank top master.
yeah. They're older brothers in S class.
Yeah.
They all wear tank tops. But Silver Fang watches that and goes, oh, watch how Saitama reacts, and he's like, yep, this guy is the real deal. And he's like, he's actually like, it's almost too bad you actually joined the Hero Association because you have to deal with all our bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a waste. You should just do what you do.
Yeah.
I love that about him. I love Fang. He's great.
You can tell Silver Fang's one of those heroes that they found him
Yeah.
rather than the other way around.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah. The other member of the Hero Association we meet very early on is Terror Tornado, who is this
He's adorable and awesome.
this sort of a very young looking woman who is an obscenely powerful mentalist with incredible telekinetic powers.
Yeah.
She basically fights.
The introduction to her is brilliant.
Well,
We'll not give that away because it's hilarious, but
Yeah.
Yeah, she basically, there's she ends up fighting a monster at one point in one of the bits and one shots it because she's ridiculously powerful. And she's awesome. She's very, very much sort of very haughty and
clearly overcompensating for being so short.
yeah. And she's childish and all this stuff, but you sit there and you watch and you're like, wow, she's awful, but she's not actually like as bad as some of the other S-class heroes are.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's scared of her because she's a child. She throws tantrums, but if you actually listen to what she does and how she acts, she actually wants to be a hero, but she wants to do everything herself,
Right.
even things that are beneath her that she's not needed for. And
Right.
if something's happening, it's like you're really not needed for this. She takes it personally that it's an insult.
Yeah.
Because she's
And
very childish.
She's incredibly sensitive, like overly so, and overcompensates by insulting everyone around her. And she's kind of adorable and hilarious.
Yeah, I mean she looks so much younger than she is. I think she's
Apparently, when he says she's 21.
yeah, she's apparently 21, and that's I don't doubt it. It's But
Given
yeah,
how she's drawn, I'm not surprised, but she's also like 3 feet tall.
well,
Yeah.
it's hard to judge because some of the heroes are very big.
Yeah,
Um,
it's true.
the second, the next one of the S class we run into is Metal Knight.
Who's
Who
a
is
jerk?
who's a jerk? Yes, he's a we don't know. He's a scientist of some sort. He builds immensely powerful weapons. He rarely personally shows up anywhere and sends out like automated drones with his weapons he's designed to do stuff.
Yeah.
And he's quote a hero.
He's like, huh, this looks like it might be a problem. I will send an automated drone while I sit here safely in my base to test these new weapons. Didn't work. Oh well.
But yeah, like he sends like one of his robots out there, robot drones out there to the meteor thing. Not because he's trying to save the city from the meteor, but he wants to, he's testing a new weapon system. It's like, oh, it's a perfect test for my new weapon system.
Yeah, and one of the things they point out is like, if you had showed up earlier, Satama, between me, you, and Metal Knight, we could have done everything. Yeah, but Metal Knight didn't actually want to help. That's also true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there are several other members of the S classes who are there, and we'll talk about them a little bit. But the last one the last most important S class that we get a lot of seen on screen is Puri Puri Prisoner, who is I simultaneously love him and hate him.
Yeah. He's an unfortunate stereotype, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's why I hate him. I want to like him, but
he's this big, buff, manly guy who's all about chasing boys.
Yeah.
And I love that there's this big, buff, manly guy with magical girl powers. That's hilarious.
I love that. I think and
he's a magical girl. He just happens to be a 7.5 foot tall
beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and it's like the whole it's like and it's and it's his sort of his he constantly places himself in prison, but he quote can't resist molesting cute boys. It's like
yeah, that's the unfortunate part. They play up the creepy, effeminate gay dude with no understanding of boundaries.
If there were any other characters who were actually gay and we knew that, it would probably be less painful.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he's fucking hilarious.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And if there was any other character for him to play off, and there might be in the manga. I haven't read the manga or the webcomic personally. I haven't fully read them, so I don't know.
Because he's hilarious. We have to point out that yes, he's an unfortunate stereotype. That doesn't stop being hilarious.
He's hilarious. It's a riot.
He's actually in the right place.
It's just
really
that
does go out to help people. He's
right.
one of the good S-class heroes.
But
he also spends most of the time naked because that's how he powers up.
Yeah, when he goes into full power,
he goes halfway through this magical girl transformation, except he doesn't get a costume afterwards.
It destroys his clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time he shows up and starts powering up, it destroys the sweater he's wearing, which was knit for him by his boyfriend, and he's very, very upset about this, which I loved. I thought that was great. That was a wonderful touch. And if it hadn't been for the whole sort of molesting cute boys thing, it's like, and they're playing that for laughs, so it's a little bit less painful than it could be.
Right.
But it's still fucking painful.
He doesn't actually mean it. But he totally plays into the stereotype.
But oh my god, he is wonderful character, and he's also another one of the characters who shows up, does something, fails, and learns from it.
Yes.
And there are that's one of the things I do like about this. There's several of the side characters who, through the course of the series, actually learn something about they learn from their failures. And some don't, but
yeah. Looking at you, Sonic.
Yes, but he's not one of the heroes.
That's true.
The other thing I love is that towards the end of the series, you actually see these shots of a bunch of the villains that Saitama's beaten, and they've all reformed.
Yes.
And they actually go out of the way to some of them start new businesses. Some come out to help out with the saving survivors during the aftermath of the big climactic event thing.
The bit with the gorilla in the chef outfit.
Absolutely wonderful. There are a couple other like fairly cool. There are a couple other S classes. The only one I really want to talk about is Atomic Samurai,
Yeah.
who and one of our listeners in the chat, Beck says, and yet Sonic is somehow more heroic than some of the Hero Association. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Metal Knight.
Yeah. Look at you, Metal Knight. Looking at you, top of A class.
Oh right.
And my mask.
On my mask. Yeah. Oh my God.
That guy is scientifically designed to make me hate him. He is everything that I hate about humans in general.
He's an awful, awful person. We'll get to him in a minute. But Atomic Samurai is, he's a dude wearing, he looks like a classical Japanese
He's
samurai.
a samurai with an atomic symbol on his back, and he uses a sword.
And he's incredibly badass.
Well, yeah, he's S rank. That goes without saying.
Yeah, but he's just awesome. And the thing about him is, when he meets Saitama, and he's like, okay, Saitama at this point has been bumped up to B rank. And
Right.
he's like, Saitama greets him, and he's like, okay, and it's like, he says, I won't formally greet you until I know you. He's got this very sort of, he's entirely willing to acknowledge people who he doesn't know are. He really wants to sort of. He doesn't know who Saitama is yet. Doesn't know whether he deserves to be here or anything like that. But he's willing to. He says flat out, once I know where you are, that you're worthy of being addressed properly, I will.
Yeah.
But until then, the thing is, it's so he's got that sort of I'm better than most people think, but I'm willing to acknowledge that I don't know what you are yet.
Yeah. Saitama tries to.
It still strikes me as, dude, you're a douche.
Oh, it's definitely
He
douchey.
tries to shake his hand, and he's like, "Well, I don't know you." That's the
Well,
gist
that's
of
the
the
whole point of shaking hands.
But it's a very samurai thing, and that's sort of the point. He's very I get that it's a character flaw, but it's one that he's self-aware of, and he's willing to admit he's wrong about people. There's a lot of characters who have that sort of thing, who will basically say look at you and say, you are definitively beneath me. I'm not going to acknowledge you.
I'm going to acknowledge this. Atomic Samurai has an awesome name and cool powers and a decent outfit, but I'm not going to acknowledge that he's a good person. The dude's a jerk. A jerk.
I don't know if he's a good person or a bad person. He's definitely a jerk.
Him, honestly, but
That's my point.
His initial reaction to someone coming up in the ranks is like, yeah, fuck you. I don't know you. Fuck you, dude. Get stuck in a blender. Go have sex with the blender while it's on.
I think I'd be more annoyed by him. I would feel more like that about him if it wasn't the fact that we see so many people who are so much worse than him.
That's true. That's very true.
And again, he doesn't say you are beneath me. He says, I don't know where you are in relation to me, so I'm not going to put myself in a bad position in terms of my personal sort of honor engaging things yet. It's a bit less bad, is my point.
Maybe, but
yeah,
he looks cool. He's got some. He looks cool. He's got cool powers. He has a clearly devoted follower. But beyond that, what little I've seen him is, you're a jerk.
Well, he very clearly admires Silverfang a lot, also.
Yeah, because Silverfang's also another whatchamacallit, the word martial artist.
Yeah. Well, but I get the impression I got from him is from Atomic Samurai is that he's not I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's arrogant and a bit of a jerk. But I think he's one of those guys who's capable of admitting he's wrong about somebody.
Sure, and I will reassess. I will reassess my assessment of him when I have further information. But with the information I have, he is a jerk and not worth my time.
Which is exactly how he thinks of you until he knows about you.
Exactly. So we will continue hating one another forever.
All right, we have to talk about. We have to talk about my mask. Yeah. He is the top of A class. He is the top of A class, and it seems to be implied he probably could be S class.
Yeah, he's basically the complete invert of Moomin Rider.
Yeah, he's very powerful, but he stays top of A class to act as a gatekeeper for S, because he's got these sort of sort of
He implies that he resents the fact he wasn't able to keep some people out of S class.
yeah. He doesn't. He thinks a bunch of the S class people aren't deserving of it. Uh, he's got some very interesting views on what justice is.
Fascist lunacy. Frank
Yeah.
Miller would like him a lot.
Possibly. He's an asshole, and he's immensely popular because he's classic. He's a classic Bishonen hero.
There's
in terms of
something,
looks.
there's something more that he's got influence as well. It's not really gone into why, because the Hero Association, it's not just that no one can surpass him to get to rank 1. People do get into S-Class, like Genos. But
Well, Genos was artificially up-jumped because they're
he
like...
was, but they consulted him first.
He's got a lot of
Every
he's
single person
he's got
who's
a
got
lot of-
into S-Class has to get past his judgment. And it's never said why.
yeah.
Well, it is only 12 episodes long.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm guessing he's going to come into it in later seasons.
If Madhouse deigns to do another season. I mean, it ruled the friggin' 2015 landscape of anime, but that doesn't mean anything to Madhouse. Basically, Madhouse decides they want to do another season, they will, but they probably have other projects and will do those instead. Because it's how Madhouse works, because fuck you. It was my second season of No Game, No Life.
Right. But yeah, this series ends off with where Saitama meets all the S-Class heroes except for King, who's the number 1 S-Class, because he decided he didn't want to show up.
Blast.
Sorry,
King we meet, but he doesn't do anything.
Right. King's yeah. Sorry, Blast is the top rank. Yeah, we don't meet him at all.
Yeah,
No
he
idea
never
who
shows up to the meeting.
I don't think he's shown up at all. I think the manga, what do you say, 104 chapters?
Oh, according to Becca in the chat, a new season is already confirmed.
Hooray!
Oi!
Okay. At any rate, but
Yeah, Blast is currently one of the hot topics of debate as to who he is. The fact that he's never been seen, shown, or other than just a name.
yeah,
But he's number 1.
we'll find out at some point, maybe.
Yeah.
At any rate,
Or he'll just be a bugbear in the closet for everyone to speculate over. Because no one's ever done that before.
Well, just before to just derail for a second, the current top theory is that what's going to happen is he's going to be rumored and get to the point where when finally Saitama is in the S-Class himself, he's going to hear all these legends about Blast, about how strong he is, about how powerful he is, and he doesn't show up because of how powerful he is, which gets Saitama really excited to the point where he wants to fight him. All he wants to do is fight Blast. And it turns out it's a placeholder, and Saitama is Blast.
That'd be funny.
Because the guy that started the Hero Association knew about Saitama, didn't know who he was, and just put the top spot as a placeholder.
My God, that works.
If they ever found him.
Holy shit, that works.
that would not shock me.
No, but that's my
Figured it out.
that's my current theory. I actually hope they do something different now, but
At any rate, the series the season we have ends with alien invasion. Saitama goes off the alien flagship, which levels the city. Goes off to fight the boss of the aliens. The other heroes fight one of his minions who's insanely powerful. They eventually win. Terror Tornado basically, she basically wrecks stops the ship from blowing everybody else up and wrecks most of the ship while though she doesn't know Saitama's already boarded the ship and has gone after the boss.
No one knows where he's buggered off to.
Well, except for Genos, who basically immediately figures, he's got to go fight the boss.
Oh, he's gone to fight the boss, because that's of course what he's doing.
Remember,
save people and distract their monsters.
When he showed up, he's just a C-class hero. Everyone
B-class, but
just about B.
Ordered to B class after the fight with Sea King.
And he turned around. Everyone turns around. There's a hole in the ceiling, and Saitama's gone.
Yeah.
So they don't know where he's gone. Geno's guesses.
I think Silverfang figured it out too.
Oh yeah, Silverfang probably knew.
Probably almost immediately went, oh, he went to fight the monsters. Okay, cool.
But yeah, so eventually the series culminates in Saitama's one-on-one fight with the boss, Lord Boros.
Lord Boros.
And it's glorious.
Captain
Oh
Dragon
my
Ball.
god, it's gorgeous.
Saitama's first punch breaks Boros' armor, releasing Boros' limits because he's wearing armor to reduce his power, because of course he is.
Of course he is, because he's clearly a Dragon Ball Z villain.
Yes!
And legitimately, that's not even his final form.
And it's such a great fight. And it's one of the ones where Saitama has to throw multiple punches. It's the only one where he has to throw multiple punches. The whole fight is just this gorgeous, fluid, visual poetry of pure violence. And it's so good.
It's amazing. It is a great... It is beautiful, it's well animated, it's funny, it's breathtaking.
It's the only fight where Saitama also uses two of his special moves.
Yes, he does. He does
punches and Killer Series serious punch.
Consecutive normal punches is a special move for Saitama.
Yes, because and he crushes Lord Boros with the final blow. And Lord Boros' motivation for all this, he's been basically, he was immensely powerful pirate lord, and basically finds this prophecy about that there's this planet where there's somebody who can actually give him a fight. So he's
alien Saitama.
Basically, except evil.
Except evil, yeah.
And he shows up on Earth and he tells Saitama that's why he's here. And Saitama's reaction to to being told I've come here to invade Earth to find someone to fight. He's like, that's fucking stupid. Why would you go around destroying things to find someone to fight? That's just stupid and awful.
Rude, dude. Why would you do that? That really inconveniences everyone else. Why would you do that?
That's just it's not even. And the thing is that Saitama's so detached that he can't even get worked up about how bad that is.
Yeah.
He's like, but it's very clear it bothers him that this guy is he's killing people to find someone to fight. Saitama's he's the antithesis of Saitama's attitude about this.
Yeah. The point is, you don't even get to finish a sentence. As soon as he says, "I've been destroying things to find this fight," you just see a flash of Saitama's fist, and the dude just goes ping across the room.
It's like, you have destroyed my armor, thus unlocking my pure power. Blah, ha, ha. Cuts to Saitama, really crudely drawn Saitama. Okay.
I mean, I don't want to spoil the last fight, but the whole point of it is I mean, like I say, the outcome is irrelevant. It's just watching this for the sheer gloriousness. But the whole part of it is, by the end of it, Boros is like, "Well, that was a hell of a fight, wasn't it?" Saitama's like,
"Yep."
You are a liar.
Yeah, Boros like, "You are so full of shit. You weren't even trying." Yep.
And Saitama's like, "Yeah, I wasn't. Sorry." Boros like, "Fuck."
One about the prophecy that gathers all the super class heroes together. And
yeah.
There's a sage who is associated with the Heroes Association. I'm not going to go into it, but there's a prophecy wherein she uses the word trouble. She's never gone as high as trouble before. She uses phrases like minor inconvenience for world-destroying threats.
Right, and it's very clear that if it wasn't for Saitama, this would have been really fucking bad.
Yeah.
I do actually like the. I told you guys this last night, but I might as well repeat it here. The theory that people have come up with for Saitama and why he is like he is, that made me think this actually it kind of plays into what's been said. There's a point in the anime where the is it the House of Evolution? Yeah.
Yeah, House of Evolution.
Yeah.
During his research, he basically starts spouting a thesis he's got that all living cells, all living things have a natural limit set by God. Because the God thing is fairly big in this as well.
Right.
And that it's all based on, as you're born, this is your natural limit. You cannot overcome this. And Saitama is such a, like you say, we meet him, he's depressed, he can't get a job, he can't do anything. He's so pathetic and he's so low and weak that his limit is actually ridiculously low. And that strength training regime that he did was actually beyond his limits. He shouldn't have been able to do it without breaking mentally or physically. So the fact that he's managed to do that, God's basically gone, well, fuck. All bets are off. Everyone else out there that's
the idea that Saitama doesn't have any limits is very similar to Superman.
Yeah.
Because the idea is Superman doesn't have any limits except those he imposes upon himself. I think that's actually canon, like part of their Bible for when they're writing Superman.
Yeah. So in the chat, the basic theory of One Punch Man is he managed to divide by 0. His limits were so low that the minor strength training he did broke him. And even all these really, really powerful guys that have really high upper limits struggle to hit them because they have really high limits. Saitama got straight through his. He's like, well, I'm the most powerful being in the universe.
There's a theory I like in that it implies that, like, just breaking any schmucko can break their limits and achieve.
Well, the reason they've come up with that is because they think that they may do the same for Mumen Rider.
That would be awesome. I don't know. Part of the charm about Mumen Rider is that he is so, let's be honest, kind of pathetic in his power level.
Yeah.
But he fights anyway. And that's what makes him awesome. I think making him a Saitama 2.0 is
I think
Mumen Rider some.
I think it's more for the distant future of the like I say, this is all fan theory because obviously his whole gimmick will start to run thin eventually.
I don't know.
You never go too thin on the doomed hero. Seriously, that is awesome. Yep, I'm gonna lose. Gonna do it anyway. It's the right thing to do.
I mean,
you can't run thin on that.
At any rate, I don't. There's not much else we can really sort of go into much. There's
one other anime that until this came out was my pick for best animated series for ever, maybe, called stupid long mouthful of a name called Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. Beautiful animation, everything. This blows out of the water. Seriously. I'm like, these came out in the same year? This is holy shit.
Yeah. I was about to say I think we should move into final thoughts. So Eric, you continue on your final thoughts on the show there.
But yeah, it's well written in that it's hilarious. The characters are all deceptively complex while at the same time being very easy to get at a glance.
Yep.
That sort of beautiful simplicity of archetypes. And speaking of beauty, holy shit, this show is beautiful. It is gorgeously animated. Like I said, I know there's CG in there because no one's insane. I didn't see it on my first or second viewing. I adore this show. It's great. I am glad there's getting another season. I'm not going to say it's the best thing that's ever happened ever, period. But it's the best thing that came out in 2015, hands down. Maybe, yeah, it's really good.
All right, Gav?
It's beautiful. I can't get over how beautiful the show is.
All right, Gav?
When I first saw it, and I remember telling you, these guys, until the story started to unfold, the first maybe 2 or 3 episodes, I thought, you know what, this would be a great stinger sort of things for between shows on Adult Swim, or something like a little show to throw in the middle.
Right.
And then because the fights were so ridiculous, and then I kind of got it. I caught up. I got it where they were going with the whole thing with Genos and all this. So once it became, like I say, I'm going from the first fight with the Attack on Titan dude.
Right.
And a few of the other characters, the ones he beats really easily. Not Piccolo, But yeah, as it's going on and on, the story starts to drag me in, and the story of this one guy that can finish any fight with one punch is actually really interesting, because
Yes.
it's not just about him, or rather, it's not about the fights he has. It's about his mindset with it. And there's a great bit in a dream sequence that he has where he's finally getting this fight and he's almost getting it. He's building up. He's feeling the excitement. He's got an actual fight on his hands, and it's a dream. And you just feel for him. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. But there's some great stuff going on with the show. Like Eric said, fantastically animated. Not just it's an interesting art style. Some people say it's a bad art style. It's not. But as I've said, that illusion of speed, and the action going on the screen, where there is a lot going on screen, but you never lose focus of it. It's not just
it's very well blocked. Also, all the action is gloriously blocked. It's like they got George Miller to do it.
It's not just it's not visual noise. You know, it's not just, oh my god, flashing lights. You can see everything that's going on, but it's also fast and action. This is probably my favorite anime right now. I said last time my experience is limited. I haven't seen that many, but for the sort of thing where I could just put on and just enjoy, this is it right now.
Excellent. All right. I love the show. I'd heard about the manga, and I heard people talking about it, and I heard it got an anime, and people were going insane about it. And my native sort of contrarian nature went, there's no way it can be that good. But I decided, I'll watch it. And it blew me away. I love the show. It is, as these guys both said, it's stupendously gorgeously animated. It mixes a bunch of different types of art style within it is the thing. And I think that's what throws a lot of people off about its art style.
Yes, it's sort of similar to the American show Gumball, in that it mixes different styles.
Yep.
But unlike Gumball, will have the different styles in the same frame. It will sort of seamlessly move between them.
Yep. But at any rate, so but there are homages to like a lot of classic sort of important shonen anime in terms of the art. There's references to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, to Dragon Ball, to Yu Yu Hakusho, just across the spectrum. And
miss Bleach though, because Bleach fell off a cliff.
At any rate, so but there's a certain level of referential sort of homage in it that's just absolutely fucking gorgeous. I adore that. I actually really adore that about it, and it's a wonderful little. It's not a big deep story, but it's a good one, and it is consistently funny. And it is. I agree with Eric. It's the best show of this past year. Fantastic show. I loved it. I love how concise it is,
Yes.
and they don't overplay jokes, which is the other thing I love.
Yeah.
They do a joke and they finish with it and it's done. They have a few running gags, but they don't run them into the ground. It is really
well paced.
The pacing's
and tells its story. Well, it's not the most tightly plotted thing I've ever seen. That still goes to Madoka Magica. It's still there's not a lot of fat to cut in this.
Yeah.
No.
So
fat is there. You don't want to get rid of because it's so beautifully animated.
Everything sets something up. Even the minor villains, the House of Evolution sets up them going to the House of Evolution. The bit with Hammerhead and his guys sets up Speed of Sound.
Yes. Yeah, it's really well done. I heartily recommend it if you haven't seen it.
One more point on the animation. I know we've banged on about it for quite some time, but Duani in the chat's just brought up a great point. There's one scene where Boros in the final fight is powering up. He's super elaborate, neon glow, everything, as beautiful as a scene as you like.
Modern technique we have.
Yeah.
Just make this really look just gorgeous.
And it pans across, and Saitama's just in 2D, just watching like
I said, really crudely drawn.
and it doesn't look out of place.
It works.
Do it where it's like it works. Yeah. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Well, that's going to do it for this week. Thank you everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you haven't seen One Punch Man, go watch it. It's great.
Yeah, I cannot recommend this. It's a short watch. It's only 12 episodes, and it's gonna feel like 3.
Yeah.
It flies by.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be this thing. Next time we do an episode, next episode we're gonna be doing will be on Gav's suggestion for us, which is Martian successor Nadesico, which it's sci-fi space opera comedy.
With
I
Max.
found one these two have never seen before.
Yeah, this is one that neither Eric or I had seen before, and not going to spoil our thoughts on or anything like that. It's spaceships, mechs, high drama, comedy, a lot of fun. We'll talk about that next time. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys next time we do the show. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.